All right. What is up, my peeps? Good day to you. I made a video the other day about no excuses, and I almost fell right into the same trap that I don't want you guys to fall into and started to make excuses. Now, I started that video out mentioning that I didn't feel good, got some sort of chest thing going on, and I still have that going on. It's one of those lingering problems. So I got this drink here, so I can take a drink, so my throat don't get all messed up. The video is not sponsored by energy drinks. In fact, I'll turn this. There we go. So anyway, I sent out the video. I sent it to some friends and started getting some responses back, and some of them were really positive in the way of saying thank you. I needed this today. I needed to be inspired. Whatever. There's many different responses, and then there were some responses that were not directly because of the video, I would say, but maybe just because of an ongoing relationship I have with some of my friends out there, where we're all a bunch of photographers and we're trying to make the best of every situation that we can. And so one of my photographers, I'll throw him under the bus, my friend Ben. He's the only photographer I met before coming to Florida, and had some interactions with him here. One of the things he had mentioned before I met him was that he really wanted to learn from me and do a bunch of things. And, life gets in the way. We all have excuses, but we've kept in contact. We've kept kind of rolling ideas back and forth and whatnot. And I sent him the video, and probably the next day or two, he had sent me a message saying, "Hey, what are you doing?" "Nothing. I'm just hanging out." Which isn't really an excuse, but it is part of life that we do, and we can't do anything that we love doing 24/7, but we can find ways to do those as much as possible. And I think, and this is just my assessment, I could be wrong, and I'm not trying to out my buddy Ben, but I think he felt like he was making excuses why he wasn't out shooting and stuff, and maybe my video rang a bell with him, amongst with other friends of mine, my friend Matt, my friend Jason, so on, etc. And I'm not gonna name drop everybody's name that I had some sort of influence on, good or bad. But in Ben's case, and the reason why I bring him up is he had sent me a picture of him getting a pass to the Jacksonville, Florida Zoo, and taking his family there and going to take some pictures and whatnot. And I thought to myself, that's amazing. Because one of the things I've been trying to convey to not just my friends, but everybody out on YouTube is, you don't need to have money. You don't need to have a whole bunch of gear. You don't need to have anything but the desire to go out and shoot photography. You don't even have to have the know-how at first. That will come. But what we find ourselves doing on a regular basis is finding excuses not to do the things that we want to do. It could be as simple as maybe your family wants to go see a movie or something, and we find excuses like, oh, I got to get the dishes done, I got to do this, I got to do that. And really, we want to go see that movie, we want to have a good time, but life gets in the way and we find excuses. And when it comes to our passions, like photography or any other passion that you may have, those passions get pushed to the side because of responsibilities. Now, I would argue this, why not take your passions and make them your responsibilities? I know it's easier said than done, but that's what I'm attempting to do. But, and I can't say but enough, I still falter. I talked to, I talked to my buddy Ben, and I was like, wow, this is really cool. My video had an impact, I think, that sent him out where he felt obligated to go chase his passions, which is a bundled deal because he got to spend time with his family, take them to the zoo, and shoot some photography. Now, he hasn't sent me a whole bunch of pictures from that or anything yet, but I imagine I'll see them at some point. Maybe I could do some critiques and reviews, which is something I plan on doing here in the future, is having people send me their files and then me tell them what I would do differently or what they could add to their arsenal. Or people can completely disagree. That's fine. Art is subjective. But we can subjectively get better by listening to other people. So anyway, long story short, the following day, Ben asked, what am I doing? Nothing. I'm hanging out. And he's like, oh yeah, we're going to go here, here, and here, and possibly go to the zoo. And I had talked to my wife earlier in that day, and I said, yeah, maybe today we'll go to the zoo and use our passes and this and that. But it was just a maybe, nothing concrete. And the way the day was going, I was probably going to find an excuse not to do that. And mainly it's because, my chest hurts and my body is not a spring chicken like it used to be. So I was finding an excuse not to. But then Ben reminded me like, hey, bro, there's no time like the present. So one thing led to another, and I went to the zoo. Long story short. I met with Ben. He was at the zoo, or he got to the zoo around the same time as me. And we didn't get a shoot together. It's something that we want to do, but I wasn't feeling good. I don't want to get anybody else sick. And I wasn't sure if mentally I was even going to be able to snap any pictures. But rest assured I did. And that's what I want to do today, is show you what I got in a very short period of time. We were at the zoo for probably less than an hour. Part of that was walking with my friends to show them back where the baby tigers are. I still have not gotten a picture of them yet. And then my wife and I decided we need to get something to drink, so we kind of broke free of the crowd and went and got a beverage. And then we started walking back out of the zoo. We literally were not going to be there very long. We just didn't feel great, and I still don't feel good. Anyway, here are a few of the shots that I was able to get. This first one is a herring or heron, depending on who you're speaking to. It was just in the marsh. Really beautiful colors, nice lighting, and this was right when we walked in. This is in their little Africa area, and there's just a couple of different types of birds that decided to wade along the water lines looking for probably little fish and whatnot. So this guy right here, I believe it's actually a tricolor herring, but it could be a little blue herring. This next shot, we were just walking past an exhibit that had a whole bunch of birds and stuff in it, but then right to the side of the birds there was also some little monkeys and different things. And so I got this little guy staring off, thinking he's hiding and safe because there's a little bit of brush in front of him, but obviously with the right gear you can get it, and I don't have to torment the animals by being up in their face. Now this was shot with, all these pictures were shot with my 200 to 800 millimeter lens from Canon. If you don't have a lens that's that substantial, that long, it's okay. Go ahead and shoot with what you got. If you have a 35 millimeter, you're just going to have to get a little closer. If you have say a 70 to 200. That's probably a really great walk around lens in the zoo. And if you got anything longer, you may actually find it harder to shoot. I used to shoot with just an 800 millimeter in places like this, and a lot of times I couldn't get the shot because I was too close and I couldn't zoom back. With the 200 to 800, or if you had like a 100 to 500, or anything shorter than that that's got some zoom, you're going to be off and running, I think. Yeah, I got this little guy. He's pretty cute. And then we went a little bit further in, and I got this guy, and his eyes were just mesmerizing. And it's not the best angle. It's got some light leaks here and there and stuff, but really I like it. He's got some personality to him, and it's one of those things is you don't need all your pictures to look the same pose, stagnant. This isn't Sears Portrait Studio. What you're doing is you're going out and capturing things as they happen. So we moved along throughout the zoo, and I actually got a whole bunch of shots. I'm probably only going to show this one. It's just silverback, strutting his stuff, and just looking so epic. He is the king of his territory, and so captured him just walking around, and I really liked the way the light was hitting him, and I liked the color of his fur and everything. This is very reminiscent of the way it looked live, but obviously color corrected and whatnot, and so that's a really nice one. Moving on, in a whole other section that wasn't even actually part of the zoo, this bird is called an anhinga, and they're native to this area. And so even though this wasn't part of the exhibits, it was something that you could capture that on a regular basis. And actually a lot of the birds that I get, that's exactly how they are. They just congregate because there's other animals there. So anyway, I like that. That was a good angle. We actually left the zoo, and all these pictures are not in any specific order, but we left the zoo and went for a drive, got some lunch and whatnot, and I stopped by a little pond area and captured this. I like the two birds in the back are kind of silhouetted, and they're dark, and then there's this guy flying by, doing a flyby, and he's just bright and vibrant and doing his thing. So all right, so back to the zoo. This bird, the stork, which they're giant, they're just huge. I'd seen every time I've been to the zoo, laying in this nest, covering this egg. But today, it was up and it was moving the egg around. It was really trying to, get that egg a brewing, I think. And the other stork that's in there with it, like every time I've been there, is off doing its thing. But I got to capture some behavior. And this was just standard, breeding behavior. They roll these eggs around and, until they hatch. And all right, I'm not going to stick around on this one very long, but I usually get some epic zebra photos, and this one was epic in its own way. Nothing I would make a print out of, but I want to see a zebra peeing. This is a good opportunity. So, and that's one of those things is, document everything. Document them going to the bathroom. Document them, trying to breed. Document them eating. Document them sleeping. Anyway, this next picture, speaking of behavior, is I just like that they're kicking back, hanging out together, and they're by the shore and eating some grass, and nothing special. It's just documenting what they got going on. That's one of the things that you got to realize, that photography is documentary, or it can be documentary. And if you don't document it, who will? And so We don't always have to try to get award-winning images. And to be honest, sometimes award-winning images are images that aren't posed. They're very candid. They're capturing a moment. And so when you go to places like a zoo or a wildlife preserve or something like that, it's really good practice to really capture things in their moment. And you just might find something very interesting. Speaking of interesting, so the section of the zoo that we were in was Africa. All the animals that are in there, when I took this picture, were of African descent, except for like some of the native birds and stuff that will come there because it's just their world. There's nothing keeping them out. Well, the same goes with alligators. Alligators are a Florida native thing. I'm sure there's crocodiles in Africa, but there's not American alligators. They're called American alligators for a reason. But this guy got in there and he is swimming around. He was a decent sized gator for an area he's not supposed to be in. They actually have an area in the zoo that has some American alligators, but this guy is obviously a stowaway of some sort. So anyway, he was just swimming. He was going for a swim. All right, these guys too, probably not in there because it was supposed to be Africa. It's just the waterways here, but they were all coming out to get some sun. I like them. I like these little turtles. Not necessarily anything I'd put in my portfolio, but it's pretty cool to capture them doing their thing. And, another day you might capture one doing something very, very interesting, and that could be in your portfolio. Here's another one of those herons. This guy was just up strutting stuff everywhere he went. He actually wanted to be seen. A lot of times these birds don't. They will fly off as soon as you raise your camera. This guy, he was like, strike a pose. Really nice looking stature on this bird. Very muted. All the tones are very muted, but he definitely has a look about him and it looks great. So I was stoked to get to see him and capture him in his moment. And then going back to the watering hole, there's another one of these large deer, small elk, antelope, whatever they are. They're of African descent. They look like a cross between a deer and a zebra, kind of. And this guy just had a nice reflection in the water. Thought I'd capture it. Made it past the Africa section. There's a section called Wild Florida, and there are several gators in there. I'm not sure exactly how many. A lot of times they're underwater, you can't see them. But this guy was sunbathing, and he still had the little lily pad, little micro lily pads growing on him, and just kind of looks like he's smiling and enjoying the sun. So thought we'd capture that. Red cardinals, they're a beautiful bird. Right now it's kind of that breeding season, so they're out and about. This is not on exhibit, it's a wild bird, and he was jumping all throughout the branches, singing and trying to get his mate's attention. Florida, like the football team, is the Jaguars. We have Jaguars here at the zoo. They have a few Jaguars. I think now they have 3. They have, I believe, the male and female, and then they have a baby cub named Banks. This, I believe, is the male, tucked into a corner, taking a nap, and he just has a really nice look about him. He probably, if you're in the cage with him, probably wouldn't be so sleepy and gentle looking, but in the cage he's pretty nice. And there's a close-up on his face. He just looks super happy and content. And just to the right of this frame, there's actually a window where people can view through at a cafe and see him. And then I'm on the other side of the fence. So he's got a great look. As you can see from all these pictures, by the way, I didn't do anything special. These edits are just basic edits. I didn't spend a bunch of time trying to make award-winning pictures. I just am trying to keep practicing, capturing moments in time, and that could lead you to jobs in the future. It could lead you to getting gigs at wildlife preserves or the zoos, or any of these things. If you present them, say, hey, I'm a professional photographer, here's what I captured. With limited access, if I had better access, I could get even better pictures and help with your marketing or whatever. Just an idea for everybody. This is actually the baby cub. It looks pretty big because I'm zoomed way in, but this is Banks, I believe, or it could be his mom, but I'm pretty sure it's Banks. And he's just taking a nap. These are all in different areas, but I really liked just that paw sticking out, it's like just out there. Went into a section which mainly had birds in it, and this squirrel decided he's going to go get some of the food that was put out for the birds. So he got this orange, and he took it all the way up into a tree and was just having a heyday, having some citrus. And, even though this is not anything special as far as, I'll never see another squirrel again, it's great practice, again, to shoot things that are familiar. Capture what they do. Squirrels are very curious little creatures. They do some funky things, and you could capture them doing some stuff. If you don't have a zoo close to you, you can go probably to your backyard and find squirrels and just capture them. If you're looking for excuses to go shoot, don't excuse yourself out of shooting. Go, okay, what can I shoot? I got access to squirrels. I got access to birds in my backyard. I got access to snails, whatever it may be. Go pick something out and shoot it. Beautiful parrot here. Who's trying to nap, so that's why his head's tucked back like that. Most of the pictures I got, his eyes were closed, but there he opened them up just to see if we were still there, and of course we were. This is called a spoonbill. They are all over Florida. Again, this may or may not have been part of the exhibit. He is banded, so I'm assuming that he's part of conservation attempt, but it was up nesting and spreading its wings and just looked cool. This little guy was hiding, actually. You could see the leaves going over him and then him on like a branch, and there was actually leaves just in front of him, but I positioned the camera just enough to where I could have it focused down, and he thought he was hidden from the view, but again, this is good practice. Find a way to capture these guys to where you're not scaring them, but you are also able to get a good position. I really like the angle of this picture. Got this bird just in this little bird area, and he was deciding to forage on the ground looking for snacks, and I just loved how the light was hitting his eye, and that bright red eye next to the greens and the blues and the blacks just really pops. At the Jacksonville Zoo, they have a lot of giraffes. I'm not sure how many. This day there were 7 out, and this guy just kind of was striking a pose, and I love that it's not straight on. It's another angle, kind of very diagonal across the screen. They got such long necks and pretty striking looks, and that little bit of green behind his head just makes it pop a little bit. And then these little hogs. These are some sort of Asian hog. They're just kind of hanging out, watching people go by. Kind of reminiscent of us watching TV or watching YouTube. Just a couple of fun little hogs hanging out. Here I got a beautiful flower just growing out of nowhere for no reason necessary. And I know it's not an animal, but when you're out doing wildlife and stuff, remember the wildlife that you're shooting relies on flowers, grass, brush, trees, ground, all that to survive. Some of them eat the flowers and the grass. Some of them, eat off of them. You know, certain birds are going to get nectar off of them, like hummingbirds. You know, some of them use it to hide behind. You know, you don't always have to take a picture of the animal. You can take a picture of its environment. So I just saw these flowers. I thought they were pretty, so I snapped a picture. All right, so this Komodo dragon was walking in and out of the shadows, and I just like the way the light hit his eye there. I don't know what it thinks, but I do think that it thinks it's hiding, you know, because of the shadows. And it wasn't moving a lot. It was just moving enough to try and kind of hide behind these shadows. And you know, that can make for a nice picture. There's another type of bird. I think this is related to a toucan, but it's not a toucan. I forget what they called it, but pretty cool looking, and he just looks kind of battle worn. You know, I don't know any other way to say it. He kind of looks like you know, he's been through the ringer a little bit. So I thought I'd throw him in there. And let's see, what else do we have? Last but not least, when we left and we went for a little drive from the zoo, not too far from the zoo, there's lots of little docks and stuff like that. The zoo is actually right on the water, and just down the way there's a dock, and there's all these pelicans, and yeah, they sit there in harmony, and they're just doing their thing. And I was pretty impressed with how many squeezed onto this dock. So anyway, so there's my my shoot. My buddy kind of called me out and said, "What's up?" And I remembered I basically called everybody out. I challenged everybody to go out and do stuff, but that applies to me as well. So when he said, "Hey, what are you doing?" I kind of thought to myself, well, that's kind of a challenge in itself, and I should be out doing something. I don't have any excuse not to. I was going to use the excuse I'm not feeling well, but you know, I think by going out, I was able to get some great practice in on shooting. You could never, ever, ever get enough practice. No matter how good you are at photography, you should still practice. They say it takes 10,000 hours to become a master of anything. And once you're a master, if you stop doing it, you kind of start losing that mastership, because you'll forget as much as you learned very quickly. So anyway, go out and shoot. Use every excuse you can to get out there and capture something. Now, I just showed you 30 pictures from a shoot that was not planned. There's no way of knowing what I'd get, if I'd get anything at all. But I could have gotten a lot more. I mean, I was there for like an hour. And so if I could get 30 pictures in an hour that are somewhat decent enough to show you guys, or to you know, share with the masses, then none of us have any excuse why we can't go out and get something. If the masters like Ansel Adams, for instance, that would say they'd get, you know, basically one picture a month if they're lucky that they liked, that's 12 a year. That's 12 pictures a year. Well, I went out for an hour and got 30 pictures that I feel comfortable showing people. Now, they're not award-winning pictures, but they're getting me closer to the award-winning look that I'm going for. And it's not just the picture taking that's going to be important. It's going to be the editing, the style that you start to develop. Even as a wildlife photographer or a landscape photographer, or anything that you would think that isn't necessarily a style, like, you know, because you're not doing anything with lighting and so on and so forth, you do develop a style in your editing and the way you shoot. So, you know, maybe most of the time you're shooting way up close, and then you start backing off a little bit and developing some different looks, then that'll become part of your style. People will go, "Oh, that's a great picture." I could tell because the way it's edited, or the just the framing or whatever. It's one of those things. Over time, you will develop a style, and you can only do that by practicing. So that's why I always tell people not to worry about a niche, because that niche, if that's the direction you're going to go, will develop on its own. I don't think you develop your own niche. You can practice one thing over and over again, and that'll be what you do, but it doesn't necessarily mean that's the niche that you should have done. So keep that in mind when you're out shooting, but go out and shoot as much as possible. It gives you more practice. It gives you more time to edit, which gives you practice in that. And it gives you time with the people that you want to be around. So I got to be around friends and family, and I got to spend another day with my wife out doing something and creating memories. Because remember, the pictures that we take are memories we could share. The pictures we don't take are memories that we may lose. So document everything. Go out and shoot. It doesn't matter what you shoot. Just go shoot. All right, guys. Anyway, if you liked this video, please like, subscribe, share, comment, all that stuff. Trying to grow this YouTube to be sustainable, and the only way it can be sustainable is if you guys help me out. And in turn, I'm going to do my best to help you guys. I'm going to share any knowledge that I have, and I'm going to just keep on keeping on. All right, guys. Peace.